Greetings, ghouls. Welcome to Deadsville Horror Talk. I'm your host, Ronin James, and to my left, the lovely Steph Infection.
Hey, Scream Hearts.
Today, we're going to be discussing a film that just recently came to TUBI, and you can watch for free. It's a 80s throwback camp
Slasher.
Haunted.
Everything.
MA TV movie. So it's called She Came from the Woods.
Mm-hmm. Not in, from.
Terrible.
What? I misread the title the first time. Okay.
She Came from the Woods. This is a TV MA horror comedy they listed as that you can that you can watch now for free on TUBI.
Yes.
It was in theaters, some theaters, a few limited release theaters before this, but it just came to TUBI June 10th. Mm-hmm. Is that what it was? June 10th?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So here we go.
All right. Mm-hmm. So real quick, before we get to our review and spoiler and all that stuff, we're going to do our first takes where we won't give away any spoilers. Then we will dig deeper and we'll give you a warning when the spoilers are going to come out. That way you can pause, go see the movie if you haven't watched it yet and don't want to have anything spoiled, and then you can come back and pick up where you left off. So, before that though, a little bit about us. I am Ronin James. I am a stunt coordinator, stunt performer, longtime SAG member, now director of Deadsville Rock and Roll Mysteries and some other productions we have going on here at Deadsville Productions. You can see me die and get shot and get my ass kicked, and sometimes I say some lines, and you might even recognize me sometimes under this stage name Jay Green on my IMDb and in plenty of movies and TV shows.
The scenes you get your ass kicked are my favorite.
I'm
It may change each week. Sometimes it's when you die, you jump off buildings, but when you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, everybody likes to see me get my ass kicked.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and this person loving to see me get my ass kicked, the lovely Steph Infection, producer, actress, horror host, live event promoter, dance choreographer. Used to do some work with MTV. And
let's not talk about those days.
She's been around the block in the entertainment biz. Not that way, you pigs. Get that dirty stuff out of your mind.
Who was thinking that? Why? Maybe you were. Stop it.
Whatever. Anyway, we'll get to your mailbags later.
Oh.
And by that, we didn't even check the mailbag before this. Oh, you did? Did we get anything in the mailbag?
No, nobody.
Still nothing from the mailbag?
Send us some mail. Just say hi. And
Come on, guys.
Read your name. We'll just read your name.
We'll just say hi. We'll just be like, hey.
Hello.
So, might as well do the call to action for the mailbag right now. Yes.
I know. So if you want to say hello to us or comment or leave your handles or your business, anything, you could literally, it's free promotions. Just shout out to us and email us at deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject, mailbag. It's as easy as that.
Yep.
Just
ask questions, talk about the movie we reviewed or something you want us to review, or something if you met somebody cool, like anything like that. You got a picture with a celebrity or something like that, a horror celebrity you met recently at a con or something, send it to us. We'll pop it up here. You can we'll show people.
Anything.
Whatever
Anything you want.
Yeah. Send it to us. And while you're at it, you can hit subscribe and like and follow and all that other fun stuff that we need you to do here on the socials and on Spotify and on YouTube and wherever you are streaming or watching or listening to us right now.
Yeah.
We appreciate it all. And we hope to keep doing this for a while. So keep coming back and tell your friends. Spread the word.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get to it. Steph Infection, why don't you read our brief synopsis that we have?
It's very brief because not a lot of people wrote about this movie, but She Came from the Woods. It's set in 1987. A group of counselors accidentally unleash a decades-old evil on the last night of summer camp. So that's about it. And it's pretty much it wraps it up in...
I mean, kinda. It gets, well, we'll get into spoilers soon, but that's basically it in a nutshell. Yeah. It's an 80s throwback, and it's got that made-for-TV feel, I think, even though it went to theaters, but it definitely has that kind of...
I was surprised to see it. It's in the middle. It's like in the middle of a TV.
It reminds me of something like Sci-Fi, because Sci-Fi's made some decent horrors.
I had like
that
American
we will
Horror
review.
Story vibe. Also.
Yeah, like a TV
it's
horror
a little bit
type
higher
thing.
up of a TV, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a more mature and better budget, I guess. TV.
A little bit of a better budget, because we'll get into some of that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of the special effects might not have been so special.
Yeah. Some of it was great, though.
No, yeah,
They
there was
put some money
definitely
in some good spots.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. The group of counselors. It's the end of summer camp, 1987, and they are packing up, and they're having one last night of partying together, and they unleash an evil spirit that comes back to haunt the campground on their last night. And
it's what you do. Everyone in the 80s was a camp counselor, right? Like everyone went to like summer camp.
Yeah.
And or was it?
That's what we did. That's why there's so many movies about summer camp. I mean,
yeah. And you all do, rituals. That's what happened.
That's what it's all about. So this was written by Eric and Carson Bloomquist.
Yeah, they're brothers.
They're brothers. That's what I figured. I kind of figured that. Yes. And it was directed by Eric. So yeah, I guess him and his brother came up with the script, and Eric comes in and directs it. And what else has he directed? I have him up here. He has done. It's Eric Bloomquist is also Danny from the movie. I didn't even realize that.
Oh.
He's Danny.
He is.
He is Danny. Look at that.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. Right. Very cool. I didn't know that. Very cool.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah. So Eric Bloomquist is a two-time New England Emmy Award winner, outstanding writer and director, and former top 200 director on HBO's Project Greenlight, 2001. Known for his work as a series creator, executive producer, writer, director, editor, and lead actor on The Cobblestone Corridor in 2016. Eric's feature films, running the gamut from erotic thriller to action horror to teen movie musical, have played at prominent festivals around the world, including Fright Fest, Scream Fest, and more. So, very interesting. Yeah, and he's a character in the movie. Spoilers?
No.
No, I won't give a spoiler yet.
He's just in the movie.
He's in the
not
movie.
A spoiler.
Yeah, he's in there.
He's in there.
I wonder if his brother was one of the people in there as well. But anyway, all right, so that's our writer and director, and let's take a look at our cast. Well, yes, the quick look at our cast. Right away, the big name that jumps out is William Sadler, who plays Gilbert McAllister. He's the grandfather of the boys. He's like he's run this camp. The whole thing takes place at Camp
Briarbrook.
Camp Briarbrook.
Let me die at Briarbrook.
Yes, bury me at Briarbrook.
Bury me at Briarbrook.
Yes.
That's it.
So, yes, William Sadler plays the grandfather that founds Camp Briarbrook, and his daughter now runs the camp, and he has two grandsons. One is the responsible one is the irresponsible one.
Oh, we're going right into it.
That's no spoilers. It's just a little...
No. I just thought we were naming
Just giving... Yeah.
Yeah, so the daughter is played...
well, first, in case you don't know who William Sadler is, he's been in a ton of stuff, but most of you in our age range would remember him as the Grim Reaper, Death,
definitely,
from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the Bill and Ted movies. That would be our main big one. But he's been a character actor forever, and he's been in a ton of stuff. He's a great actor, and he definitely is great. I mean, he does his thing in this. He's definitely the one of the big,
he's
the heavy hitters in this one. When on screen. William Sadler, hats off. Still doing his thing. Death. What was the line? Do not overlook my butt also.
Yes.
They're talking about cute butts, and he was a little jealous that his butt wasn't being counted in there. Always remember
if he dropped that line, I would have
so his daughter was played by...
I don't know how to pronounce
Buono?
it. Buono?
Buono, I would say.
She plays Heather McAllister, and she was... Karen Wheeler in Stranger Things.
Yes.
Which,
Stranger Things tie-in. And wasn't she in some other
Mike's
stuff too?
mom and what's his sister's name? Whatever.
Yeah.
She's like the hot mom in Stranger Things.
Yeah, but she was in some other stuff as well, I believe. I'm sure. And then we had Claire Foley as Lauren Davis. Spencer List as Peter McAllister. A lot of these are like pretty CWE looking actors here.
They go from everything from like CSI Miami to Law and Order Special Victims.
For a lot of, so it is a lot of, it's a lot of TV actors and stuff. There are a lot of TV actors in here.
But overall, I thought
they did a good job. Yeah,
really good.
The acting was pretty good. The script, maybe not so much. Spencer List as Peter McAllister, the immature brother, I guess you could say, the kind of slacker brother. And Sean McAllister is played by Tyler Elliott Burke. He's the older, more responsible brother who's kind of like taking on the, you know,
dad role.
Yeah, the fatherly role. We had Adam Wepler, who plays the asshole with the blonde 80s mullet and the dangling earring. He was so 80s. Like what's his name? Adam, like he looked like straight out of like Singles, the old movie Singles or something. He had a flannel around his waist and sleeveless t-shirt. And
totally.
The dyed blonde mullet.
That like a-hole.
Oh yeah, he just oozed dickhead.
Yeah.
He just oozed 80s dickhead.
Yeah.
We had a couple other ones. Dan Leahy was Ben, and who else? Well, we said Eric Bloomquist, the director, plays Danny, and then some of the kids. There were some kids in this one.
Lots of kids.
Declan Foley and Coulter Abanez. Pizza Guy was pretty funny, Corey Asanovsky. And then Agatha. Madeline Dower was our Agatha, Agatha is our villain.
She's a lot prettier.
Yeah, without all that makeup on. So that's it. There's our cast. Again, the most notable being Cara Buono and William Sadler. Let's also mention Michael Park. I don't know what else he's been in, but he's Officer Matthews. He has that one scene where he comes in and he's just like, he kills it. Because he's like when he comes in and we'll get to it. But he just, woo!
Now, As the World Turns.
Oh, he was in Stranger Things as well. Okay, yeah, Gotham. Look at that. I got a connection. He was Richard Manning in Gotham.
There you go.
We both worked on Gotham. Law and Order. Another FBI, Bull. Stranger Things. He's a TV guy. Blue Bloods. Oh, yeah, there's another one. I worked on Blue Bloods as well. I got a couple of connections to this guy. He was really good, though. That scene, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, man, he was solid. He came on and like, I was like, wow, the acting in this movie's pretty high quality for a TUBI movie.
You could see it, like he knew exactly what
he wasn't in the whole thing, unfortunately. He was only in that one scene, but he was really good.
Yeah, he was good.
All right, let's move on now. So, time for our first takes.
Okay.
As usual, we always give Steph Infection ladies first. Gets to do her first take.
So, my first take is this was fun to watch if you if you're just like hanging in, need a movie to watch. I thought in the beginning, it like kind of hooked me right away, and I thought that the comedy, the comedy, the filming, the characters together, even like the little scares that start in the beginning and moments of maybe certain people dying kind of like captured me right away, and I thought it was really good. And as it got further, I started falling a little bit side from, especially some of the acting. But overall, I thought it was, it was fine.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat. I don't think it was necessarily the acting that I was, that kind of, again, I kind of lost a little bit interest, especially in the third act. Yeah, like you said, the beginning got me, and I was like, oh, this isn't bad. And then, like, as things start rolling and progressing, I mean, yeah, some of the acting, it was very...
I have a gripe with a certain actor.
Yeah, especially, well, it was very CW-ish, like the Spencer List kid and some of these the younger kids were very, they're very, you know, pretty looking and, again, very, like, very obviously TV.
Yeah, but they were all good.
Actors.
They were all
no, I'm just talking about the aesthetic of watching it. So I get, you know, like right off the bat, you get that, okay, I'm watching a lot of pretty TV people right now, but you know, it still works. It's and the 80s vibe worked. An 80s camper, you know, summer camp movie will always capture my attention. So they always have a special place in my heart. I went to a summer camp in the 80s.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
I never went to a summer camp.
Camp Arrowhead.
Like you actually stayed there?
No, this was not a sleep. This was only a day camp. Yes.
See, that's
I didn't
different.
do a sleepover camp. No.
I think sleepover camps. They still have some sleepover camps.
Oh yeah, they do.
I can't.
I couldn't imagine doing it. I couldn't. No. And especially nowadays, kids not having video games or anything. Like back then, I was like, I can't be without my ColecoVision or whatever it was that I had at the time.
Wait, did I do a sleepover camp? Oh gosh, now I'm.
Well, I did Camp Arrowhead. We did the archery. We did horseback riding. We did all that fun stuff. And then we would go home at like 6 or 7 at night, something like that, at the end of the night. And we'd be tuckered out, and our parents would have a break, and would have to deal with us. But yeah, so. Again, I have a soft spot for these kind of movies, and this one started off real good, and there were some good kills in it. I really enjoyed some of the kills. There were some decent kills in there, but there were also some bad special effects in there. There were also some stuff where I was like,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The bad special effects? Well, we have to wait and get there.
I know. Maybe I'm thinking of the one.
I'm talking about his when he's laying there. I mean, that was,
you heard me the whole time.
I know, but but even the special effects on it didn't look
awful.
Yeah, it didn't look good, that part. But there were other things with like stuff. Yeah, there was other stuff we'll get to in the spoilers that looked good. They were
put
fun.
some money in some places and not in some other.
Yeah, and I just think, I don't even know what they were thinking in certain spots. There was some weird decisions made, I felt like, in that third act, and that kind of lost me. There was some uneven writing, some questionable character decisions. There was stuff that just didn't... even in the backstory, when we get the whole backstory to why everything is going on, I'm like, well, like you even said, like, why didn't they just do this at this point? And I'm like, well, because then you wouldn't have a movie. And, you know, there were just certain things that just didn't kind of work and kind of fell apart in the third act when all the explaining when all the explanation was coming out. And it just was kind of, there was some questionable stuff in there. But it was still overall enjoyable. Like Steph said, if you're looking for something to watch, stream at home, bored.
I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, you can definitely put it on, but don't expect a whole lot. It's just a fun little kind of camp slasher that set in the 80s. Good soundtrack, too. There were some good fun songs from the 80s. Again, we keep getting these, just like a couple movies we've had recently. There's a couple good songs that are... even in these ones that seem like lower budget, they still manage to get quality 80s, like nostalgic songs that are really like very popular songs that really give a good, good vibe.
The trailer of this movie actually like really makes it look great.
The trailer does. And it's got creepy kids, which the kids certain times look creepy, certain times maybe not so creepy looking. You're just like, man, that kid's smiling. Come on. So it's always tough. Yeah, it's always tough working with kid actors. Kids are tough, but I will say that like a lot of movies tend to shy away from violence towards children. They like don't.
Not summer camps.
Not this one.
Not this summer camp, at least.
This one, I was like, yeah. We'll get to some parts that I was like, yes, do it.
We're not just going after the counselors in this one.
Yeah, so we'll get there, but yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something like that's what the boat we were in this week. We were like, there's nothing really new in the theaters. There's not a whole lot that's popped up recently streaming, and some of the other podcasts had already jumped on and reviewed some of the other newer stuff. So we were like, we don't want to do the same thing they're doing. Let's find something else. And we kind of came across this one.
And the trailer was great. And like even the beginning, like I said, the entire beginning of the movie.
The first two acts are great. The first two acts are a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. I still think overall, like it was fun.
And overall, it's worth a watch. Yeah. But we'll get to some parts and we'll get to some reasons as
we're being uber critical.
Yeah. As we dig deeper. So
All right, are we ready?
Shall we do it?
Shovel out?
Let's get the shovels. Let's dig deep.
Let's go through a little bit of a timeline of how this movie kind of sets. We start out, it's the ending ceremony of the
Summer
camp.
camp, yeah. So we're in the 80s. We get that all set up. We kind of see our setup with the two brothers. We get that kind of feel from just some interaction. They do a good job of kind of giving you the dynamic early on, just through interactions. Maybe if it is a little heavy-handed in it.
Dad.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Has to be.
And that's where my biggest gripe with this film is in the writing. And that's where I'm very picky. Because they do a lot of good stuff in this. And again, like, I don't think it was necessarily that the acting was bad in spots where it would lose me. It was more that these actors weren't given a consistent script to work with the whole time. They had spots that were really good and felt really thought out well, and they were like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then there were parts where they were just like, this doesn't make any sense, and it just seems like they were like, fuck it, move on, it's a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were like, yeah. So there were, I don't think it was the actor's fault. I think it was more in the writing. No offense to the brother, the Bloomquist brothers, but yeah, maybe bring in a third to do a touch up next time. Because we got some questions. But yeah, we start out, meeting the brothers, going through some stuff, and
they go through the ceremony, and there's some like.
Well, yeah, we kind of get the hints at the ceremony, and that the ceremony. That's how the brothers start off, is talking about the ceremony, and he's asking the one brother if he's going to come. I meant just the final. They do like a play. For the, you're talking about that ceremony.
It's the ending ceremony.
It's the ending ceremony of summer camp.
And summer camp. So the older brother has to drive
the kids.
Some of the kids.
Yeah, but before that, though, we're talking about they set you up for the.
They set you up for
the other ceremony that takes place.
Yes, but that all kind of happens at the same time. After the play, one brother, he's like, I have to be, are you coming with me? To like the young one, no, we're going to go like party with all the counselors and we're going to do the ritual. And he's like, before the don't play. Do the ritual. Oh, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. After the ending ceremony, one brother is driving the kids home, the more responsible one. The other brother is gathering all the counselors to go into the woods to drink and do this ritual. To bring back the hag, they say. There is a witch or whoever. They call her a witch.
So this is kind of like this thing is kind of part camp slasher, part haunt.
Yeah.
Part kind of supernatural, but that's kind of and that's where I think it kind of loses a little bit, because we're kind of questioning, like, again, by the time we get to the third act, it's like, make up your mind. Which one is it? Is she like a spirit, or is she like a corpse, like a body, like a corporeal body, like a physical form? And it's,
you don't see. I thought it made sense up until the end, but yes.
So yeah, there were questions there, like and we'll get there. But yeah, so we get the kids doing the ritual.
So they tell this story about this nurse that used to work, and she used to take children's blood and, and
put it in bottles and hang it from trees.
Hang it from trees, and this is, bloodletting.
And she did experiments on children, her bloodletting experiments.
Yeah. I don't remember, how did they say she ended up dying, or she was cursed or something, or I don't know if they actually said that at the ritual.
Yeah.
But they were saying how they were going to, when she died, she said this statement, and it was basically something Latin, and he said, but we do this every year and it never works. But I figured out a way, and this is Peter. This is the irresponsible brother.
Right.
And he gives everyone a needle and says, she needs something to heal. Let's prick our fingers.
You have to hurt ourselves.
We have to hurt ourselves.
Or we have to be hurt, I guess you should say, yeah.
So they all prick their fingers, and they lift up their
finger to the sky, and they yell, Agatha! And nothing really happens. Oh, no, that's right. The dickhead jumps out and gives them the jump scare.
Yeah.
In the mask.
Yeah, and that works.
Our Dylan character jumps out. Yeah. And that works. Because, again, that's the kind of thing that would happen back in the day. You would tell a camp story, and then dude would jump out. So, and then they just kind of...
Yeah, they were always...
Yeah, and then they kind of move on, but then we cut to the brother, who's got the kids, he's got the...
This was a very good scene.
This was the bus. So we go to the bus, and now we're assuming that this is kind of like a few moments prior to the Agatha ritual taking place, and the bus is broken down. The same bus that he was working on earlier when the two brothers were talking. The bus is broken down, and it's full of kids still. The last batch of kids is still on the bus, and they're fucking wilding out and screaming. And we meet our little Coulter Ibanez Dennis character here, and
he's like, Dennis, can you get everyone to play the quiet game? And he's like, yeah, okay.
He's like, you and I both know that's not going to work.
And honestly, like, these kids, I actually looked at you and I was like, this is exactly what kids sound like. Yeah. Like, it was just, it wasn't fake. They were not acting.
No, it was screaming. They were like rowdy on the bus, just like I remember being. Like, and the girls were like getting progressively louder. And we don't see the kids while they're doing this. We're seeing Sean in the rear view mirror, just sitting there like he's, just aggravated, getting to his breaking point, and the kids just louder, and then silence. And Sean's looking in the rearview mirror like, what the hell just happened? And he gets up and he looks, and we spin around, and you're like, what the fuck's... And this was really good, and all the kids are sitting perfectly still.
Perfect.
Totally silent. Just deadpan faces. And he's like, oh, good.
All right, cool.
Quiet game. All right. And he's like, I'm going to try and get us out of here. And he goes off the bus. And this was a good shot. When we watched this was a really good shot. Good directing and good camera work on this, because they did and I suspect I know how they did it. So we cut to outside of the bus so that we see inside from in front of the hood. So we see inside the glass, we see all the kids sitting in their chairs, and Sean gets out, walks down, walks to the front of the bus, and lifts up the hood of the bus.
Now, before he lifts up the hood, we still see all the
heads of the kids. Lifts up the hood of the bus, looks at it for like 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
And then shuts the hood, and the heads are all gone. And he walks back onto the bus. He doesn't notice it, but if you're paying attention, you will as the viewer. And it's just a really cool thing. I mean, they probably just shot, it's all one take. He goes up. As soon as he lifted that hood, he probably had all the kids just duck down behind the seats.
Yeah.
Whoop, thing goes down, boom. But then they, little sound effects, and it sounds like the kids ran off into the cornfield, and he gets on the bus, and he's like, what the fuck? And next thing you know,
he thinks they just like ran off.
Right.
Yeah, at first.
And yeah, they disappeared into the...
He's chasing
the children of the corn, and he goes off running towards them as well, and then we cut away. But that was a cool scene. That was a cool, effective little moment, creepy moment. The kids frozen and then disappearing like that.
I even thought the one prior, just when they were like all loud.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And he was like, and their creepy little faces.
Yeah, that whole That's what I mean. That whole scene with that whole scene in the bus when the bus dies and they get taken over. And that's where they get possessed. And now you have these creepy ass fucking kids running around for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, but we don't really know that yet, but we will.
Yeah, it comes to light.
They're creepy.
So yeah, then.
So then we cut to like all the counselors that were just doing the little ritual are now
hanging out, and by the beach.
One girl and our director.
Yeah, so they alluded to this earlier, that the character Danny, who's played by the director Eric Blomquist, that he has a crush on one of the girls, and this is his last night to make a move. So everybody's been like, "Hey man, don't be a pussy, go make a move, go do something. This is it." So he finally gets up the courage and makes the move. And gets totally shot down. Totally shot down. Whew. Yeah. But he's a dick about it too, because he's just like...
He's kind of a dick, but he was also, he was like, I think his feelings were so hurt because he went to go try and kiss her, and she was like, oh, I have a guy back at... And he was like, all summer I've never heard of this guy. And
right. He's like, no, you don't. I ask people.
Guy, and
then he just goes, just go with it. Just let it happen or something like that. And
that's a total dick.
Right, that's what I mean. I was like, ew, cringe, dude. What the fuck?
Plenty of guys that say that. Yeah.
So Yeah, then she kind of rejects him. He stands there. She goes, she storms off. They're on the dock. And then one of the girlfriends comes over, sees her kind of distressed, and goes to talk to her by the fire. And they're talking, and oh yeah, and she's telling the girl about, and we have like a medium wide shot. And this was a good fucking shot here too. And this is what I mean, like this is what gets you. At the beginning of this movie, some of this shit really gets you and pulls you in. You're like, wow, we're in for some good stuff here.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. This was, so you kind of see, this is like a medium shot of the girl sitting at the campfire, and we see Danny walking back from the dock in the background, just slowly walking back, blurry. You know, our focus is on our two girls who are talking now about this imaginary boyfriend back at Dartmouth who she's
likes. We've been writing each other letters and, you know, talking, whatever.
And slowly you see Danny bend down and pick up a rock, if you're paying attention, and you see him slowly. I didn't see that at first. I saw him just holding. Well, because the focus pull on this. They're so focused on the girls. Everything in the background is pretty blurry, so they do a good job of. If you're not, like, they draw your attention to our conversation. So unless you're really paying attention to it, and I think I might have even, because I watched the first half, and then we went and rewatched it again. Yeah, because you start to notice him when he's as he gets closer,
and I was like, what?
And then he says her name, and she looks up, and he's just like, wham! And just, whoo! This rock just wham! And you see blood off her head, and he just jumps down, wham! And hits her again, and people are like, what the fuck? And everybody at the fire, we were all just like, wah! And then they try to get him off her, and he like smashes her face into the fire and like leaves her head in the fire as they like. And then I guess one of them like grabs her. The bully pulls the girl out of the way because the girl's trying to hits him with a branch. She grabs a branch. The one girl hits him with a branch.
Yeah, but then what's the
other guy? And then the other guy, Mike.
Yeah, I thought it was
Ihad Berisha.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
I was not either. But Ihad Berisha playing Mike, who was one of the counselors.
He kind of looks like this like all-American kind of like
he totally does.
Guy that is just, you know.
He's totally a Mike.
Yeah. He's
so many Mike.
Yeah, but he so many Mike. But he comes up and stabs him.
He stabs him, yes. He stabs him in the back.
And then he turns around.
And then our possessed Danny spins around and screams and then he kind of goes at Mike, who stabs him again in the stomach, and then pulls the knife out, and our Danny goes to the ground and kind of bleeds out. And I thought I felt like I give the Danny actor credit, and because I felt like there were moments in there when like he's possessed, obviously. But like when he gets stabbed the first time in the back, and he's like, like the pain almost made him.
That's why I think for a moment they thought maybe he was like he
snaps out of it or something.
Out of it. Like he didn't know what was taking over.
He's like ready to cry almost. It seemed, but then he spins, and it seems like the anger and possession of the Agatha spirit takes him over again, and he just lunges. And
I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. It was a tense scene. Yeah, man. There was a couple of good back-to-back cool scenes. So yeah, then the panic starts. The girl's dead, and they've stabbed Danny, and they run off to. Well,
they're like, "What the hell just happened? Like, we got to go back to the.
We got to call the cops." Well, Mike says we got to call the cops.
He's like, because we can't.
Mike's the responsible one.
Yeah, he just stabbed the guy, but he's like, yeah, we can't let this go further. We have to call them right now.
Mm-hmm. And so the only phone. This is the '80s, remember? So there's no cell phones. The only phone is at the cafeteria, I guess it is. Wherever the big one of the big the mess hall. So. They run back there, but they remember too that they had sent Ashley and Ben had gone to go and lock down the last few campers. They had run off to lock down the last few campsites and close up the last few camps at the end of the camp for the night. So they had pricked themselves, or they hadn't pricked themselves.
Ashley had. Ben had not.
Remember with the lights and the door opening and closing behind
that
him?
scene too.
Yeah, that
I
was
thought
another
that
good
was
scene.
good.
Yeah, so I guess
But he
that
couldn't
happens,
see
I guess.
anything, and that came out later. That's why he couldn't see anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You couldn't see anything opening and closing the door. But at this point, they hadn't, like... See, that's where the whole thing gets weird, because the kids hadn't resurrected her at this point. Remember, the kids all run past everybody and do that... Like, when that thing happens with the door, that's before
it wasn't
that.
her out, but it was just like
the
he
evil
got
spirit.
possessed. Yeah.
And it's just...
Things started happening,
or it could
kind
just
of.
be, some holes in the writing, but...
I mean, yeah, but
could just be plot holes in the writing, too. You
once
never know.
You have a ritual, and you start stirring up the evil, and it's coming out. And just
Right, but the evil obviously was possessing the children. It had to take physical form and possess the children, and it had to take physical form to possess Danny. So what opened and closed the screen door when Ben was locking up? And I think that actually happened before Danny got possessed.
No.
Or did it happen after?
No,
okay.
it happened after.
Okay. All right. Well, but still, I mean, she wasn't walking around in any kind of form yet until the kids came by, which happens a little bit after this in Resurrect Her. But at that point...
I think you're thinking...
Because he hadn't seen the kids yet.
But just like Danny getting possessed and Ben having like the door kind of just, it could have been the wind. We still don't know. Faulty wiring.
That door, you saw that door open and close very specifically. That's just one of the questions. Again, that's when you're writing, and that's where the question comes in. Like, when you're going to walk this line of, we're doing a summer camp slasher, but supernatural, it's... Well, like she was possessing people to kill people in the real world or to move things in the real world. So what ghost opened that door and shut it? And why did she need to take over bodies then if she could open and close doors?
The way I saw it is that once they did the ritual, it gave her permission to kind of do things in a spirit form. She was possessing, she was opening and closing doors. The children were needed to actually resurrect her body because she wanted immortal life. So I saw it as where she was buried.
All right, I saw it
fitting as.
I just find it questionable
about her
that.
Yet, and things were happening, but then the kids were going to resurrect the body.
But here's the other thing too: is it comes out later that she's only after the people that prick themselves. So why would she even be at the door? Or maybe that's why she didn't do anything to him at that time. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she was just wandering around as a spirit. I don't know. But there were some questions there. That's all I'm saying in that part.
He wasn't the only one that didn't prick themselves, but were seeing things happening to other people and stuff. They just couldn't see her.
Couldn't see her, right.
Yeah.
Right. But she wasn't after, they specifically said she wasn't after the people that didn't prick themselves. She was there for the people that pricked themselves.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, anyway, we'll move on from that one. So we cut back to the mez hall. They run in, they find the mom. Our Heather, head counselor, and they tell her what happened. We got to call the cops, and and that right there, that was like, that was the start of some problematic stuff for me that we noticed throughout the rest of the movie. Here it just kind of just was like dips its toe in it, and later on in the movie it becomes really an issue. The way characters respond to tragedy, the reactions were so unrealistic. Like
this is my issue. This is my issue, and this is why I said the acting. Her acting is awful.
Yeah.
And
well, that would be
awful. And she's one of their main. Like they probably paid more money for her.
For her because of the name.
Like,
yeah.
What the hell? I'm like, she's awful.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do I know her from? And then I was like, oh my God, she's the mom from Stranger Things. And I went back and I was like, am I just like crazy? And I went back and watched clips from Stranger Things. No, she did decent. She wasn't great, don't get me wrong. Like, but even just her play with Mike and she's telling, like being a mom, I was like, there's more emotion in that show in the first season than there was in this. Yeah. She's like staring. And like,
yeah, well, I mean, that's what
emotion to her face, even throughout the entire thing.
Look, man, that's what can happen.
no.
That's what happens to an actor when they do what we call mailing it in. That's called collecting their paycheck. She's not into the movie. She knew that this
She's
script
been in
wasn't.
like 4 things in her entire life.
Well,
she should be.
I don't know.
Stranger Things was the only thing that she ever did that was big. So I don't know.
Well, at any rate, yeah. I mean, it wasn't just her though. There were the kids reacting to people dying, the brothers reacting, like the brother reacting to the brother, and then, like there was a lot of.
That we'll get to.
Just like what, really, we'll like nobody's crying, nobody's like like
they were all bad.
Like they go back and like when the mom finds out that her one son's not coming back, and she doesn't even, not even one.
I almost think that she cried at one point when they were talking about. Oh God, she was crying at some point in the movie. What was it? When they were like talking about the plan or what they were doing or something. Oh no, about.
Oh no, when the dad was telling
the
dad was telling the backstory of how all this happened, which man, that was probably how the dad banged Agatha.
She had a tear coming down her face. Not when her son died, and I know we're jumping all around. Nope, not when my son died. I'm not gonna have one tear.
Yeah, we don't have to really stay in order for this one.
No,
You're just gonna jump. We're just gonna bounce around, and we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time tonight on this. We're gonna get in and get out, so we can keep it rolling. That was some bad stuff there. There were scenes where it was just like the brothers, like that was a big one for me. Like the Peter death. So yeah, Peter dies chasing her around. Yeah,
well, we're just going to jump to that because I do want to talk about parts that I did like about this movie.
Yeah,
but we're just going to. Peter's like, oh, why didn't you tell me this was real? Because Heather, the mother, actually was the child, one of the children, from years ago.
Yeah, let's get into all that.
60s or something, where the actual nurse was. She was telling all these children that they were special, and she worked at the camp, and she was, I guess,
doing her
blood, and she was doing treatments.
Bloodletting, yeah. She was doing bloodletting experiments.
And they were bruising and this and that, and she was hanging there. She wanted,
She was hanging their blood from the trees, and she was doing black magic, I'm sure, and all that kind of stuff, dark art stuff.
Yes.
But here's the thing, we get all this from Grandpa. When finally word is out that the ritual's been done and that she has come to, the kids all run and chant in a circle, and we see her come up out of the red light ground, and now she has physical form, and we're like, what the fuck and she's rah, and all the kids chase the Ben and Ashley, and Ben can't even see her. Ben just sees the kids. Ashley is the only one at that point when they do the circle and come up, which is, all well and good, but the whole Horizon was just so low budget. It was like, they got hey, let's get a red light and a smoke machine, and you kids get tight, and we're just going to have the person bend down, and then you just stand up and go, oh.
This is her. I'm here.
And it was, and hey, look, man, I make low budget movies too. I tell you, we got to do what you got to do.
I got a red light for those of you that are just listening.
Yeah, I hear you. You got to do what you got to do. Get some of these effects. But yeah, so then the chase and the crazy kids. The kids were, sometimes they look good. Sometimes I was like, once they were really supposed to be rah, 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 I was like, I'm not buying it anymore.
No.
Once they really got like hands-on, some of the stunts and stuff were lacking. The kids weren't very convincing when they were killing people.
You got some kid booting that you like.
Yes, well that was one thing that I do. Like I always do enjoy when a movie will have some child violence in it, like especially because these kids are like they're outside the door and they're trying to. That one scene where everybody's in the house in the cabin and they're like outside the door. All these kids, like a dozen of them, bang bang, we're gonna kill you, get out of here, rah, rah, rah. And they got a plan where they're gonna trap them in the basement. And then as they're about to go out, the two of them, they're going, I'll do it and I'll go, and they're gonna go out. And then one hands the other one a bat,
just in case.
Just in case. And he's looking at it like, am I gonna hit a kid? And then he's like,
you're like, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you better give that bat, man. It's that kid or you. I tell you what, if it's me or a 12-year-old, I'm walking the fuck out of there. I'll tell you what, I have no qualms hitting a demonic possessed 12-year-old with a bat.
He still talks about that remake of Pet Sematary. So.
Oh yes. Oh my God. Yeah, we won't go there on this one. That's a rant for another day. But yeah, so their kids are chasing them. The one kid, it was a little girl too. I didn't even realize which one it was. It was like the main little girl with the side pony.
That was me in the 80s. I had a side pony.
She catches up and like grabs on his shirt, and he just spins around and hauls off and wails her like flying into the bushes.
Don't worry, she's fine.
And then he looks at the bat and he's just so sad with himself. He tosses it aside. I'm like, why are you throwing the bat away? Are you an idiot? That's like your only defense. And all the other kids are still coming. And then, of course, he runs and they chase and the girl pops right back up and runs along and follows him. She's fine. Keep the fucking bat, man. There were so many more kids you could have home runned out of that motherfucker. Wham! Batting practice. Boom! Let me get a little switch hitting practice in. Boom! Both sides of the plate.
Out of here.
Yeah, man. That's what this had. Had that little Children of the Corn vibe. Makes it a little.
Yeah, all the albino aspects of it. But yes.
I mean, they weren't all albinos in Children of the Corn. It was just.
I thought they were.
No. Oh my.
Pretty much were.
No. What Children of the Corn did you watch? You're watching the wrong Children of the Corn. Albinos?
They all were like pale and white.
No, I think there was just the two kids that were blonde, the good ones that were.
All right, maybe albino, but they were still.
They weren't albinos.
White.
They were just like
pale.
Oh no, the freaky Malachi kid with the red hair, the ginger.
Yeah.
And Isaac was the brown-haired, like Damien Omen looking motherfucker.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Albinos.
All right, well,
We could make Children of the Corn albino version, though. Do like cross Children of the Corn with powder. Just put a powder on a bunch of kids, have them run through the field, and then we can fucking like hit them with bats and shit, and you just see the powder be like poof.
I don't think this is good. I think you should stop talking.
All right, anyway, back to this movie, though. So, yeah, they wailed on some kids. They had no qualms about kicking them. He stomps one after knocking him down one time. There was a couple of them where they were just hauled off on him, which I'm totally cool with, man. Do that shit. If they're possessed, man.
Yeah, I hated the how that little scene ended though, because Mike was like our good guy.
Yeah, Mike was a good dude.
He was trying to do right, and this asshole.
Yeah, Dylan.
Fucking Dylan.
Yeah, kicks him in the face as he's about to get. He's getting away from the kids.
He's getting away from the kids. He's down there, and he's like,
the plan's working. The plan that they have to get them trapped.
They're like, no, come on up. And then he's like, he gets away and starts coming up. And Dylan, who's been fighting with him over some girl who ended up dying scenes before, so I don't know why they're still fighting.
You can't block me all summer, Mike.
Boots him in the face.
Yeah. And Mike falls down the steps, and kids rip him up.
Yeah, they just eat him alive or something. Yeah. I think they're like vampires.
I don't know. They tear him apart. You're never quite sure what happens. You just see rah, and then a mass of hands and little
and some blood
stuff, and and then that's it. And then they wind up dead. Or you find a body later or something.
I guess. Yeah. We never found his body.
There was a cool exploding head. Oh, that was the.
That's at the end.
Yeah. That was good. I thought there was another one before that. Didn't they smash a head with something?
A rock?
I thought there was a smash. Was there a rock smashed head?
Oh well.
Oh no! Yeah, that's right. The Dylan John. Yes.
Dylan,
the asshole finally gets his come up. That was a good death.
That was a great.
That was a good death. And he's such a prick. Like the whole time he's like says that like. The most ignorant shit that dudes used to say. This was really in the 80s.
Hey, used to.
You think still around here, around these parts, still. Plenty still. But, yeah, shit like, oh, you think if I, what was it, when if I told V that her play really moved me, that she'd suck my dick?
Yeah,
like,
you think used to? What? This only existed in the 80s?
All right, it was more. I feel like it was more prevalent in the 80s.
What? You are just.
I mean,
no. It still exists, and guys still act like douchebags.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt. I mean,
but they still think that the whole point is that if they compliment you, then you're
supposed to suck their dick.
Give them something. Yeah.
Or
if you buy them dinner, then they have to sleep with you. If you buy them a drink, then they gotta. Suck that dick.
Suck that dick.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Gross behavior, but it was so obnoxious that it was comical, but also like you start hating this character so much.
Yeah. So when he gets his due, what was it? He had the gasoline all over him at one point. They doused him in.
No. So what he actually does, yes, but what he does before
the kid gets him. It
makes you really want him to die horribly. Ben, who's like our favorite character, he's the gay guy that he was making fun of through the entire thing. He ties him to a tree. He didn't prick his finger, and he's like,
and he kisses him.
he cuts him, and he's like, say Agatha, because if you cut yourself and then say her name, now you're screwed. So he like makes him do that, and he's scared. He kind of whispers Agatha, and then he kisses him, and then he's like, all right, that's it, I'm out of here. And he thinks he's like giving Agatha a gift in some way,
and saving everybody,
and saving everyone. So then he goes, and he's like, I'm out of here. He tries to get into the car won't start. He looks under, and you see the gas line cut. And it's just drip,
That's right.
drip, drip, drip.
And then he gets gas thrown on him.
Dennis, the little demon child.
Yep.
He gets this, and pours it on him. And
there was a cigarette, because the guy, there was a cigarette on the ground that was just left there by one of the characters who was smoking. And, yeah, Dennis picks it up and he catches on fire, and everybody comes running out to see him on fire, and he's... it was a good fire burn, and it really almost looked like the actor actually did part of it. I mean, he might have done... Because it starts with a close-up, and you see... like his arm and the fire going up, and he's all covered like he's drenched, but it could have been like the gel that we use, the fireproof gel, and they could have just done like a partial burn on his arm just to get that first thing going, and then they cut to a wider where it really, but it could, I mean, I don't know, I have to look at the dude. Did he get a stunt credit on this movie?
I don't know, but I was trying to look while he was like running in flames, and there was definitely like a blonde wig on or something on. But he may have been a little wider, whoever the stunt guy was.
Yeah, it was definitely a stunt double, because he would have given himself a stunt credit. He has very few credits.
But that arm, I think
that could have been, just do a little thing, because we've done that with actors before and haven't done it.
Just in 8th grade, so on myself.
Definitely possible. So pretty cool. So yeah, he's all burning. It's a good full body burn. Goes a little while, and then he. One of the girls comes out and puts him out with an extinguisher.
Yeah.
Right? Is it
Ben's sister, Claire?
Ben's sister, Claire. Yes.
Yeah.
No, Lauren Davis is her name. Claire's the actress.
Oh, sorry.
Lauren is the character name, and she puts him out, and then she kind of goes down.
Like bubbling. And
his face has got all kinds of.
He looked.
It was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the greatest. I felt that there should have been more black.
Have you ever seen it burn?
Isn't it black? Isn't there char around the edges or any usually?
No, it's sometimes it's more like a yellow. It's usually yellow.
Well, you tell me, how close was it? Because it just looked like
It's hard to say, because she put him out pretty quickly, so it's really hard to say on like your actual skin, because sometimes people just swell up so much from that burn that it almost looks like that, like he just looked swollen. And other people I've seen charred, but that's not. I mean, I worked in the burn unit for a while. It literally, it wasn't terribly off. It could have been absolutely.
Fair enough.
They look yellowy and pussy, and it doesn't always look like burns.
Yeah.
It just looks like big blisters.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. It was like big, but fair enough. Yeah. Cool. And then what could have been, it was a good job then. And then, so he's like, oh, kill me. And she's like reluctant. She's like, nah. Fucker is dying. He reaches up with a bloody hand.
Oh my God.
And grabs her titty.
I mean, he's literally begging for somebody to end his life. And this is the big. Now, at first I was like, did he do that so she would kill him?
I wonder, or is this like, I'm gonna get a titty before I die? This titty's right here.
That's what I believe more. Because he just grabbed it. Like, what the hell?
I was like, I was a little thrown. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't do a double take. He's grabbing her titty, because I didn't realize
that's what you would do. Dying breath.
Yeah, but I would be like, honk.
Missed opportunity.
Only on you, though, not on like that was somebody else's girlfriend. I'd do that to you.
You'd have some other choice words.
So I guess that kind of convinced Lauren to do the deed, and she takes the fire extinguisher and slam, and splat. That fucking thing splattered like a Gallagher watermelon.
It's like I think it like his jaw, his mandible just like
that shit was that was a good one. That was a good practical shot there. Good kill. All right, so then killed him off. So now I guess let's talk about the issues with the deposition, what's the fucking word? Exposition. That's the word I've been looking for. The exposition of how this all began by William Sadler, who's got he's the man that makes the big bucks on this one. He was the big name, so he had to do, this is like the long monologue about the story of how it all started. And, Agatha came to be back when he first founded Briarbrook.
A lot of male hoes in this movie. Let's just say that right now. A lot of male hoes that can't keep it in the pants.
Well, I mean, and this is a story we've heard before in like there's been plenty of movies where you have like the little family unit and they look for like a nanny and comes in and she kind of falls in love with the father and starts poisoning the mother who's already kind of sick and just kind of helps her along her way and of course the dad gives into temptation and bones her. So
now they show this whole entire story when he's speaking, like this epilogue of with shadows on the wall. So it's like, I hired this nurse and boop, boop, boop.
And you see like
the screen, and it hands a resume or something. I didn't even know where she came from. I told her my wife was sick, and then we see her caring to the wife, and then we see her pouring poison down the wife's, and then we see I gave it a temptation. Her
temptation,
and then, but it wasn't just like them falling. It was like he like grabbed her and
and they're like, wow, the shadows are like hard at her.
I feel like he like threw her down at one point and pushed her over, and I was like, oh my god,
these shadows are really going at it. Some shadow play.
What was that?
But you know what's funny though is the reason they did that, like that's like it's probably like a budgetary thing because he had to do this exposition and do all this thing to tell the backstory. What are they going to do? Shoot all these flashbacks we had to go find an actor who looks like young William Sadler or do some fucking terrible CGI or whatever. They were like, nah, fuck this. We'll just get two totally random actors to be shadows and we'll silhouette the whole fucking thing and just fucking mime it.
I thought that was smart and we may steal that at some point because I thought that was really smart.
No, it's an effective way to tell your backstory. It was
because it did. It was like,
because it kept the cost down on William Sadler, I'm sure.
Not just showing like, I don't know, like drawings on paper.
No, like were you taking a shot at us? Taking a shot at us? She's out here taking a shot at us, our own show, and she's out here Wow, man. You're just mad because you did the original drawings, and I was like, these are ass. And I had to actually get an artist to go redo them.
They don't look that different. They were not ass. They don't look that different.
They were booty.
All right, don't listen. They literally, they were tweaked. They don't even look that different. It was stick figures. Nobody that is listening.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're listening. I'm holding my hand up and blocking her as I mouth no.
Yeah, that's not really. I'll show you. I will show you all.
No, we're terrible. Anyway, so yeah, we get our whole exposition, and he boned her, and then the mother died, and then he realized what she did, and then we get the biggest what the fuck of all of the movie. This man literally says, I realized after time what she had done and poisoned my wife and da-da-da. So I...
Oh, wait,
banished her
Oh!
from Briarbrook.
This was my favorite part. Wait.
He didn't call the police.
That's what I said. I go, wait, what?
He didn't call the detectives, or cops, or FBI, or authorities of any type. I mean, and this is only the 80s. How much further back?
That would have been the 60s.
Okay, but still, it's still the 60s. I mean, you're still...
Call the cops if
you're still calling the cops.
Your wife.
Banish her
he goes,
from Briarbrook? What is this, the fucking Schreier? Are you fucking Frodo? You banished her from Briarbrook?
We both looked at each other. I was like, wait,
what the fuck?
And then he goes, I banished her, but she didn't leave. She went to go live in the woods.
She went to live in the woods. Just outside the property line. What the fuck? So she stayed, and he said, and there she stayed, and she would lure children, where she would drain their blood and hang it from the tree. And I'm like, motherfucker, You knew all this, and you tell nobody. You just banish her and then just let her sit at the edge of your property
Who is he?
where you run a summer camp for children. Holy shit, that is the most, like, irresponsible. I can't even believe, like if I would write that, if I would write that, or if somebody came as a producer came to me with that in their script, I would have to. I would banish them from film writing. I would banish them from script. I would be like, "You're banished from Hollywood. This is awful."
It could have.
That makes no sense.
No, but they could have made sense if he was like, I realized she was actually a witch and not like alive or something, so I had to banish her because I
used a spell or something to banish her, maybe.
Anything that she couldn't come on the actual property.
Right.
Because then it made no sense. It was like, what, you banish this human to outside your property, and she just believed you and stayed outside your property, and
she has honored the banishment. Oh, this is like the line
PFA.
here. It's like the right, yeah, PFA. It's like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd and this line, and don't cross this line, and it keeps drawing a line and saying, "Don't, they better not cross this line." Oh, God, it was so fucking. It's one of those moments where you just want to slap yourself in the fucking forehead and just like. Oh.
I think we were supposed to. I think there was more to that. Like, there should have been more that they cut out, because clearly she was some type of a witch or something. She was, they could have said, like...
They never got into what the blood meant from the trees. Like, what the fuck? Did they say what it was for?
One of the children gives her eternal
power?
life.
That's what gave her eternal life. So that allowed her to come back.
Eternal life.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Okay. They said that, but she could have just been... They didn't really say witch. They kind of called her a witch. But he didn't say, like, I couldn't call the cops because she was a witch. Like, we realized that I had to banish her. Like, I don't know. I had to do something. Yeah,
so then, I mean, we might as well just get to the end now and wrap this one up.
I know, but I feel like, okay.
Anything else you want to touch on before we...
Before we say, like, all the things we hate, because...
Oh, we've already done most of the ones we hate.
I know. Good. I gotta say, I really like the part with, like, the pizza guy.
Pizza guy was funny. Yeah.
He came
and that was the tail end of the cop. That was how the cop got out of there. Our actor, Officer Matthews, Michael Park.
We didn't really even talk about when he came in.
He was awesome, dude. When he shows up and finds out what's going on, and you realize that him and the mom know each other, and he went to this camp too. They were both kids at this camp, and he was one of the ones that went through this shit with her too.
His eyes welled up.
Woo! That was like one of the most intense acted scenes of the fucking movie. I was like, oh man, that's like really that scene really pulled me in, and I was like, whew, this shit's gonna be intense.
But then the pizza guy rolls up. Well, his car dies.
Well, his car dies, right? He's like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here, and he goes to call in. Oh no, he goes to call for help, and the car dies, and that's when he finds out it's her, and then he starts freaking out, like scared. And this man was scared, and he's a big dude, and he's like he looks like a veteran, like he's seen some shit type dude, and he was like shook. Yeah. He was genuinely shook, and then the pizza dude rolls up.
Yeah, and like smoke coming out of the car. And he's like, "What's up, dudes? Yeah, back up. Are you partying?"
Yeah. They're all just like, "Get us out of here! Get us out of here!" And the cop fires the gun up in the air, which cops won't really do. Not only once, but then twice. He does it a second time because the pizza guy keeps chattering, and
he's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you affiliated with this?"
Do you know these people or anything? Have you ever been here before? No. All right. And then he jumps in the car and gets the fuck out of there with the pizza guy and just leaves them to their own devices. It's a great scene. Yeah. It's a great scene because it really conveys like
how
there's
scary
some fucked up shit about to go down, and it really like.
The whole beginning, and that was, in the beginning. Like, the entire beginning half of the movie, and even further than that. It was, like, great. That was fun.
But then we get to our third act, and then, like, right after... There's still some fun kills, true. But right after William Sadler gives the exposition about, like, the whole backstory and everything and where she came from, it's all downhill from there. The kids are terrible. The fucking... she has... form now. She's just like a corpse walking around, right? She's just like Nurse Corpse.
We don't see her actual face until the end.
Until the end, and then she's like, but even then I was like,
dead.
She had all these powers to possess people. She had powers to move stuff and like powers, and then, but then she's just
taken out with
like arrows and hatchets, and like they just take her out physically. They just physically kill her.
But they did say it.
They do chop her up and all.
They said that when she rises, they have to just let her die again here. So they were saying things that I was like, okay, they have to kill her.
They were dropping some stuff.
Yeah, like I thought that was believable because even though she's like this paranormal entity, they were still saying, we got to kill her here. Like, we have to kill her. She rose. So I got that. That was fine. So what didn't mesh was how well a mother cares for her children.
Oh, God.
Or a brother.
Yeah. The reactions toward in the third act, they were horrible. Like, main characters are dying, who
We're past, like, just being shocked at this point. Like, there is okay, we didn't really talk about Peter's death. So Peter's the one that kind of made everyone do this ritual.
Yeah, this was all his fault.
We're going to wrap this up. But he was just like, I'm only 21, I still want to have fun, and blah, blah, blah. So he does that, and then at the end he's like freaking out. He's like,
he was trying to get Ben. Ben was tied to a tree.
Yeah, he could hear him screaming, but he's trying to fix everything too. We get that feel at the end, and he's running, and they're like,
because he feels guilty. He knows it's all his fault.
Don't stop, and you can hear Ben going, come on, just a little further. And I feel like when I heard that line, I was like, this ain't Ben.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Ain't Ben. And then we see
the tree where Ben was supposed to be.
Yes.
Agatha wasn't there. It was the tree where Ben was tied up. And he goes to run past it, and the hand just comes out from behind the tree.
We see her in her from neck down.
Do we see her now?
Yeah, I think you were doing something else. We see her. She holds up the axe while he's still running, and we see her kind of smile. And then he starts running further, and then we see that scene where the axe comes out, hits him in the neck, he falls down. Now, in that moment, she immediately, this is not like a ghost that just disappears. We see her run away.
Yeah, she's like laughing and running like she's Harley Quinn.
Now, the brother of Peter, who just got axed in the neck, and his girlfriend standing there.
Peter's girlfriend, not the brother's girlfriend, Peter's girlfriend.
Peter, who just got axed.
They were following, trying to tell him to stop running.
Are standing there, and they are just looking, and they look at each other, and they look at him. They have no emotion.
None.
Then they go up to him, and he is still alive. He's still alive. He has a gash in his neck.
It looks really terrible.
It didn't look terrible for a quick kind of.
It looked like a superficial wound.
Yes,
it looked like a very light. It looked like it didn't really penetrate very deep.
And this entire scene was very unbelievable. So they are sitting there. You walk up to somebody, your brother or your boyfriend, that has anything and they're bleeding and you think they're dying, you put pressure on their wound.
Yeah, first
you
thing
do not care. Everyone and their mother and their child
they start freaking out
to do that. You start crying.
Screaming. Somebody call 911. Whatever. Help.
Whatever.
Help.
You know
Help.
that 911's not coming, but you're at least trying to save this human. They are just sitting there. The girlfriend grabs his hand. And this is the part that I looked at you and I was like, this is what's the most unbelievable. I was like, no, there's no way he's going to die right now. This is so fake. He is breathing. He is talking. There is no blood from that neck going into his lungs, which actually happens when somebody has a gash to their neck.
Well, yeah, if your throat gets cut, you should be bleeding from your mouth, right? He should have blood coming out of his mouth.
You should hear gargling.
Right, and that would be the blood in his throat, and coughing it up.
Even if he's not coughing, it was he's making. He's like, and he falls asleep.
Yeah,
and I was like,
terrible.
What the fuck? What just happened? He just fell asleep. No. There's no blood. There's nothing. He wasn't gargling. He wasn't gasping for air. I mean, your lungs start filling up with blood. Mm-hmm. That's what actually happens.
And his girlfriend and brother don't care. They're just standing there, holding his hand until he passes. And that's it.
No emotion, no nothing.
And then to top that off, they go back. They run back now and they tell the mother, or after all's said and done, I guess it was, right?
Well, whatever.
No, the mother and William Sadler are doing their thing.
Yeah, and he gets killed.
Yeah, so let's get to William Sadler's death. So that was ridiculous too. He's got the shotgun, and I mean the trick was okay and all when he tricked her and pulled the girl away, but then I don't even remember how he wound up getting.
So basically they're saying that she was jealous of his wife, that's why she killed him.
And he wanted the ring. She wanted the ring.
The wedding ring.
The wedding ring.
And he fakes her out and gives her a fake wedding ring.
And she lets go of the daughter, but somehow she gets the drop on him and gets the gun.
Because he put it down to be like,
right. Here. She gets the shotgun, and Agatha takes a shotgun. Now our supernatural
witch,
black magic witch nurse from the dead just picks up that shotgun and blasts his fucking head to pieces. And it was a cool death, but
never met one of them before?
it was just really odd, like seeing the witch from the 60s, I guess. It was just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this motherfucker up with this shotgun.
When I saw her face, I was like, ooh, he fucked that?
Yeah. Sure, she looked much better before the 30 years of decomposing. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, the shotgun blast. William Sadler comes to his end, big old head explosion, which is actually pretty good. That was a cool little thing. Unfortunately, the rest of the story surrounding it was just terrible and cringe-inducing. So then he dies, and then then they like hack Agatha to pieces, chop her up, blah blah blah. And
they're with an arrow through the neck.
Yeah, arrow through the neck. Well, they have the girlfriend they're holding Agatha down and shoots her in the neck with the arrow. That's the final. And that's when the mom's like, where's Peter? And the brother's just like
shakes his head, and she just goes.
And she just
stares at him, no emotion.
Like your
tear
kid's
that
dead.
You had when you found out that your father.
Kid's dead. Your dad didn't just bang the nurse, but you're dead. Your baby is dead. Your youngest.
Like your child. Your child
nothing.
Is no more.
Nothing. Just nothing.
Nothing.
It's awful.
Nothing.
Yeah, talk about really like giving.
We're not even like exaggerating. There was not even like a, and it was like a.
Yeah, like it was probably like the glycerin fake tears that they put on when she did. No, that's what I mean. That's probably what they did to her for the scene where her dad fucked when she found out that her dad was cheating on the mom.
Do you want to know how I know that?
They didn't even give her that one for this one. They didn't even do that.
Do you want to know how I know that?
No.
Because her tear in that scene came down her middle cheek.
Oh, and it didn't come from the edge or the inside?
Yes. No. It just came from the
middle of her cheek.
Whose tears come from the middle of their eye? It doesn't work that way. That's not how your tear ducts work. Your tear ducts are located in the middle.
Yeah, we're on to you, Hollywood. We're on to you and your glycerin teardrops in the middle of the eye.
It was like they put it under her eye right here and just wanted it to be on the cheek because she was at like a 45-degree profile.
Yep.
And they wanted it to be seen.
Yep.
And it wouldn't have been seen anywhere else. But that's not natural. And I noticed that. I was like, what? At first I thought it was just like, I don't know, something fell on her face. I was like, what is streaming down her face?
Speaking of something fell on her face, that fucking gauze on her ear the whole movie was so fucking ridiculous too. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. Did they put a second ear on her original ear and then put the gauze on? There's just like this giant ear thing on here. I'm like, what the hell is that? That was really weird.
Maybe that was the prop ear and they wrapped it.
Well, that's right. When the phone blows up and her ear is cut, I was like, wow, she's really holding that prop ear on there good.
Maybe they just
But then they just, like instead of just putting gauze over her real ear, I think they put the prop ear in the gauze and then would put the whole thing on her real ear. Which made no sense whatsoever. I was like, what the hell is up with that giant thing on her ear? It's a giant gauze ball. All fucking movie.
Yeah, with a horrible
Drive me nuts.
I know. We got we got our last and final season of Stranger Things coming up, and I'm going to be like looking at her going, oh, you didn't care that your child died. Why do you care about these children?
I don't believe you that you care about these children either. You're the worst 80s mom ever.
Ever.
Yeah, she plays 80s mom in Stranger Things, 80s mom in this. Worst 80s mom ever.
She's decent in Stranger Things. She's fine. She's not like,
Yeah.
She's not getting like winning awards, but There was a little bit more emotion.
Yep.
And it's not even like just from Botox or anything that you can't have emotion. She just literally just stared, and the directors let that happen.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I don't
is the director
understand.
doesn't say, "Yeah, this isn't working for me right now. I need some kind of emotion from you."
Maybe they were all so horrible that they were like, just stare at each other and act like you're shocked because you all suck at acting sad. Like maybe that's what happened.
Can't act sad. Oh God.
You guys suck at acting sad, all three of you. Why are you my final three?
Yeah, right. All right. That noise means it's time to wrap up.
Or feed some cats.
Yeah, that too. All right, so let's give our final thoughts here, Steph Infection, on this TUBI special. She came from the woods. Cruelest summer ever is the tagline.
So I love cheesy horror. I do. I love cheesy slashers. I love stuff that I can make fun of. So I liked watching this movie. And I know that we kind of ripped it apart, and I hate some of the acting, and I'm going to make fun of it. But I enjoy that. I used to purposely buy the cheesiest horror films in like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster growing up, just to kind of make fun of them and being like, yeah. So that's kind of like what this made me feel like. So I recommend it. I think the kills and where they actually put money into this movie with some of the special effects was great. The comedy was really good. Overall, the acting, like, it made you feel like you were watching kind of like a higher budgeted TV show. I don't know. Made-for-TV horror. Yeah, but it was like fun. It was good. It was good. It was fun. I think if you're like not doing anything and you want something to put on, it's definitely worth a watch at some point, because it was fun, especially if you like cheesy horror. So I liked it. Yeah,
I'm in a similar boat. The first act really got me hype for it. I was like, wow, I really found something here. This is actually pretty good. And then second act was pretty good. It kind of kept the gore and the suspense and the tension going. But then, yeah, it really fell apart in the third act for me, man. It just really fell apart. So many problems with the script. And, yeah, like the lack of emotion in some of the actors when there were deaths that really left the character deaths feeling hollow at the end. After investing 2 acts into the movie.
Could have been so much better.
It really did fall short, I felt, in the third act. I felt like there was really some good potential there. I feel like they should have picked slasher or like done the supernatural kind of urban legend thing with her, like the Bloody Mary, because it's almost what it feels like. They wanted to do this like Bloody Mary kind of thing with a camp nurse, but they maybe the special effects for doing supernatural was too much for them. I don't know, and slashers are always cheaper. Yeah,
the story was just a little too.
Yeah, there's a lot that doesn't work for me in the story. Acting was decent enough in spots. I really liked certain actors in this. I thought they were pretty good, but then again, there were spots where I was like, why are you not showing any emotion? Your son just died. Your son. Like,
I mean, listen, if you haven't seen it, zero emotion.
Yeah.
Zero.
So, I mean, would I recommend this? I guess if you are like looking, you have nothing else to watch, and you want something free, and you want to see some good practical kills on TUBI, check it out. If you feel like towards the third act you're kind of losing interest, feel free to turn it off. Because by the end, I mean, it's worth seeing a couple of the last kills, but the movie itself, it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it's not. It's only if you're really breaking it apart like we are. If we just watch this, you can't take it too seriously, and sometimes you just need a cheesy, good horror film. So it was fine.
Yeah, I guess I tend to find that a lot of movies struggle with a good ending anyway. It's tough to come up with a good ending. These writers write themselves into corners sometimes. There's always a way out. You're a writer, make shit up. That's what you do. But, you know, This is what we get sometimes with movies. So I'm really in the middle for it. You know, if it's free on Tubi, so I give it a recommendation if you're looking for something free and pretty fun to watch on Tubi. You get a good fun hour out of this and some good jumps, and you can even laugh at some of the stuff that we talked about, you know, going on later on in the movie in the third act when stuff is just like, what? It's almost like they were like, they had been working so long on this movie and they're like, let's just get this fucking movie done.
Yeah.
Let's just get out of here. I've had it with, they were on location shooting in Connecticut, I read. So they were probably just like, yeah, let's just fucking, and they couldn't have been shooting it during the actual summer when a summer camp was going on. It had to be like fall or spring or something when camp wasn't in session.
Fall, because it was,
So, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Like I said, the beginning was really good, and it really pulled me in, and I just felt kind of disappointed by the third act. Happens a lot these days with
like
movies.
Some of the crap that's on like Shudder and Tubi.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, it looks way better than a lot of and it looks way better than a lot of the stuff that you're going to see. The quality of the cinematography, the film quality is good. It's shot very nicely. It's very very well. Again, it looks like a high-end one of these like sci-fi horror movies or like the CW or you know, one of the higher end productions that's coming on, like made for TV movies. Yeah, definitely good quality looking production. So
so if you like to watch horror a lot and you're out of horror options, watch it. But
yeah, I'd give this director and writer another shot too. If he comes out with another horror movie, I'd check it out. I'd give him another chance because he did do enough good in this that I liked, that I would give him another look when if he did his next thing. I'll be eager to see if he learns from something that happened here.
You know,
oh, dude, I know. Believe me, I am I am not proud of some of that. A lot of the stuff I have out. It's a learning process, man.
Yeah, so maybe
definitely.
And they only did a few things, so
yeah. But there was effective first two acts. Learn how to be more effective third act, and it's got good horror potential. He definitely can do some stuff. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up.
Yes.
We ask you again to make sure you follow, like, subscribe, write to the mailbag. Yes. If you've watched this movie, feel free to send us your thoughts. We'll read them next episode. And
deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject mailbag.
That's
Just
right.
say hi and leave your name. I will read it on the screen.
Bring it right up here and look and read them. Follow us on Spotify. We try to get a new episode out every week, and usually by the end of the week I'll try and get them all edited and get all the work done.
Yep.
So, all right, that's going to do it for us here this week. Stay spooky out there.
Bye, Scream Hearts.